been 400 years later, I'm back. I understand why the brothers and sisters here feel like, man, Ghana's hard and everything, but I always tell them, America is harder. A lot of us are poor in the States. I believe that when you live here, your life gets extended versus in a toxic environment like America. I was a part of that historic night where 524 members of the scattered African diaspora received their Ghanaian citizenship. That was a very memorable evening. And to be honest, I never really cared about citizenship here.
But do you think as a diasporan community, you have a voice?
I think
Thinking of moving to America? Hold that thought. In this eye-opening conversation, Telie Woods shares his first-hand experience of leaving the States for Ghana, from the opportunities and peace he's found to reclaiming identity and citizenship. He reveals why so many in the diaspora are escaping the US and calling Ghana home. Don't miss this powerful discussion before you make your next move.
2021 that I heard this call, and within 6 months I was here. I shut everything down.
Brother, you moved to Africa without a plan, basically. Hey, you're welcome to Connected Minds podcast. My name is Derek and I'm your host. It's a wonderful year. It's an amazing year so far. Remain positive in whatever it is that you're doing. That's the only thing we have, is to use the mind to think positive and then act positive. Today I've got a conversation that I think is going to be awesome with my man Judah. He owns a restaurant in Ghana called Jerk. So now, this man is a diasporan. He is an African American. He's made it happen in Ghana. Of course, he's gone through challenges like many of us do. But he's made it work. A few days ago, I was at an event where he did, and he had loads of diasporans, under one roof. And, I was taken back by the number of people I saw that he had put together. And it's the Diaspora Enrichment Awards. You're doing an amazing job, man.
Thank you.
You're welcome to Connected Minds.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's amazing to have you, How are you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling real good. It's good to be alive. Everything else is extra.
What does being alive mean to you, brother?
Man, just being here, being in the moment, being able to just be, sometimes we kind of just take that for granted because we're so busy and we're all chasing certain things in our lives, certain goals and measurements and heights that we want to meet. And sometimes, you just got to kind of be, that's one of the things that I'm learning is that along the journey, you got to stop and smell the roses.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're doing that often these days, are you?
I'm trying.
You're trying. Yeah.
I'm trying. Yeah.
That's the only thing we can do, is to try. The person who I spoke a lot about you before this conversation happened, is Della. I really appreciate that woman and what she's done for this podcast so far. I called her in and I said, I've seen this gentleman who owns a restaurant called Jerk. And he's a diasporan. He's made it work in Ghana. And I understand he went through a lot of challenges to make sure that worked.
Yeah.
But I would love to speak to him. And he told me a lot about you, So I'm hoping that my audience, especially people who stay in Ghana and the people who are also thinking of moving to Ghana would get great benefit from this conversation. How has it been so far?
It's been a roller coaster.
Right.
Life is a roller coaster. It's ups and downs, right? And the ups are great. The ups are great. Things are going well. You're making money and, life is great, whatever. But it's the downs when, that resilience has to kick in. You know what I mean? And so, living here, and I've been here for 3 years now, a little bit over 3 years. So I'm still new here. And so I'm still learning everything. And, it's like a brand new adventure every day that I wake up here. Because I know I'm going to experience something that I've never experienced before. coming from the States and everything. And so I love it.
You love it.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the down moments, man? And how do you pick yourself up?
Yeah.
I'd really want to know that, man.
Man, you know what? When you're going through a down moment or a storm in life, one of the things that is really important is to just keep going, because let's say
it's difficult though.
It is, but if you stand still, you're just going to get rained on. You're just going to get drenched if you stand still. So you got to keep pushing, And so honestly, that's how my whole life has been, Sometimes those downtrodden moments feel like a lifetime, but there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, right? So it's being resilient, sticking to the code, trusting the process, be led by the creator, and you come out on top.
So you came to Ghana. Well, you're in Ghana.
Yeah.
And then you brought your restaurant to Ghana. Drake, so you had it in the US, and then you said, okay, now that I'm in Ghana, I would want to do the same thing in Ghana.
Yeah.
Now talk to me about that. How did you find a space? What were the processes that you went through to acquire that space? What did you have to do? How much you had to put in there? All of that.
Yeah. Well, the story kind of started back in the Virgin Islands. Okay. It started in the Virgin Islands where I was living with my girlfriend and everything. And so, we just had a dream to start a restaurant. And so we found like this small little shack right by where the cruise ships come in, right? And so we were in the process of opening up, just a place that we could do like small foods for
small chops.
Yeah, small chops, right? And so we were almost there, and a Category 5 hurricane came through and tore the island up, right? And so we were still encouraged, and we still had that dream, and we're like, okay, cool, we're gonna help the island rebuild, we're gonna get back on our feet. And lo and behold, another Category 5 hurricane was on its way to the island. And so everybody's like freaking out. The lights are out, trees are down. It's nobody could get gas, nobody can get food. It was really, and I'm from Chicago, so I've been in some serious weather before, but I've never been in hurricanes before. And so we were blessed because our roof stayed on, but you go into town and a lot of people's roofs were torn off. It was a crazy situation. And so by this time, a lot of people in the States were saying, hey, you need to come back to the States, regroup and then go back to the islands. And so I ended up doing that. And so one of our neighbors, she was like, hey, listen, we got this boat. We're going to go back to the States, but we have to get off of this island. And so I got on a small boat with just a couple people. We floated over to Puerto Rico, and now this storm is on its way to Puerto Rico. And so everybody in Puerto Rico is just flipping out, and I'm just like, wow, this really must be serious. And so a friend of mine, Danielle Little, in St. Louis, we actually co-authored my first book with each other. And, she was just really trying to help me to get on a flight out of Puerto Rico before the storm hits, right? And lo and behold, right before they closed the airports, I got on the last flight out of Puerto Rico, and I ended up in St. Louis, sleeping on my friend's couch, not knowing what I'm gonna do. I'm pretty much homeless at this point. And, but I still had a restaurant on my mind. So I started to look, I'm like, it must be a reason why I'm in St. Louis right now. And so I started to look for a restaurant space, and I found it the third day of me being in St. Louis. with not much money, with not much credit, but a whole lot of faith, I ended up opening up Jerk Soul, the very first location of Jerk Soul in St. Louis, and it was an instant success. It became a staple in the city. The city embraced it as its own. Even right now, they're like, hey, you need to come back. We need you.
See, now let me stop you there, right? And I always ask this question, when you've had this much success that you've just defined as, and you have to leave everything.
Yeah.
And then come to Africa. What's that thought process? What is happening there?
Well, I actually, after 3 or 4 years, I shut everything down because I pretty much got a very strong divine unction pulling me to the motherland, right? And so that was January of 2021 that I heard this call. And within 6 months, I was here. Okay, I never toured here before. Didn't know anyone here, but I heard from on high. And so I wrapped everything up, closed my businesses down, not just my restaurant, but my other businesses, packed up everything, shipped my dog out here, and then I shipped myself out here, and I was here within 6 months.
You closed your successful businesses.
Yeah.
And then you came to Ghana.
Yep.
Because you heard the call.
Yes.
That you should be here.
Yes.
Right. We just got on the flight. We're here.
Mm-hmm.
What was happening here? The few moments, the few days that you were here, what was happening around you, in your mind? What was happening?
Well, it was emotional because I couldn't believe that, I'm in Africa, My feet first touched Africa in Ethiopia. I flew Ethiopian Airlines, and so they went to Ethiopia first. And when I first touched ground, I was just like, wow, I can't believe that. You know what I'm saying? People from where I'm from, it's not even a thought. It's not even a thought. And so just being on the continent, it was mind blowing. And then when I got to Ghana, oh man, it was a feeling that it's really hard for me to describe. It's kind of like my DNA in the inside of me started to like tingle or something, you know what I mean? I don't know if there was the connection was starting to happen, you know what I mean? Because I've been so separate,
Right.
It's been 400 years. And 400 years later, I'm back, and I'm back. And I'm in Cape Coast, not too far away from where we were taken from, right? So it was mind blowing. And when I started to describe this to all of my family and friends back in the States, I don't know, they're just really just watching me, and they're pushing me on. They're encouraging me to keep going and doing what I'm doing here. It's been a mind blowing experience.
At this point, in the experience you were experiencing at the time, had you made your mind up that you were going to live in Ghana?
Oh, yeah.
So you first touched down and you're like, I'm living here. How did you think you were going to survive financially?
To be honest with you, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about that because I'm a hustler. I didn't think about, man, how am I going to survive here? I already knew that if I'm obedient to the call and I come, everything else is going to work itself out, and that's exactly what happened.
Brother, you moved to Africa without a plan, basically.
No, I didn't have a plan.
Wow. The only plan you had was the divine plan.
That's it.
Many years after your move, are you proud of the decision you made?
Man, I look back now and I'm like, wow, now I see. Now I can see why I got the call to come here. You know what I mean? And so, and it's not about business. It's not about vacation and tourism and all that kind of stuff. I see how not only myself, but thousands of members of the scattered African diaspora, from the Caribbean, from South America, from North America, scattered to the four corners, they're all coming back to the continent, you know. Tanzania, Kenya, South Africa, Uganda, Ghana, you know, we're coming back, and the Most High is bringing us, he's pulling us here, you know. So this is a divine thing that's happening, you know. So I look back and I see why I was pulled here.
You know, the same day you came, right? There would have been someone who, if it was possible, someone would have met you at the airport to swap the passports. And he said, "Oh, okay, if you want to stay here, that's fine. You take mine, and I'll take yours, and I'll replace you where you are." What do you tell those people that want to go back then? Go and
go there. Yeah. Well, bro, to be honest with you, I take a lot of Ubers, right? And so I have a lot of conversations. I've been Ubering here for 3 years. So I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of Uber drivers. And they ask me that same question. They say, "Man, you know, we see so many of you guys coming here and a lot of us want to go there. You know, why are you coming here?" You know? And I let them know that America is, you know, for us, if you have this, it can be a nightmare. You know what I mean? For a lot of people, it's heaven on earth. But for my people, for a lot of us, it's a nightmare, you know? When you look at all of the stuff that we go through and that we've been through building up America, you know, we've never been repaired. We're very damaged. And coming here, see, when you're in the land of your captivity, it's hard to heal, you know. But when you get plucked up and you get replanted back into the motherland, your healing gets expedited. And that's what a lot of us are experiencing here. A lot of us are experiencing a peace that we've never known before. You know what I mean? And so I understand that, you know, the economy worldwide isn't good right now. So including Ghana. So I understand why the brothers and sisters here feel like, man, Ghana is hard and everything. But I always tell them, America is harder. You know the difference? The difference is, you know, Black people in America are at the bottom of the totem pole, and so a lot of us are poor in the States. There's poverty here, right? But the difference is, in the States, they're poor and they're dying. Here, there's poor, but they're living. That's a big difference, you know. And what I mean by that is not only are our people in the States have to watch out for, you know, the food, which is genetically modified, the water, which is poisoned with fluoride, the air, chemtrails get sprayed on a daily basis. So not only is it not healthy to live there, but we also have to endure amounts of racism that a lot of people here don't understand. They don't understand the amount of terrorism that our people go through in the States. And I do my best, you know, if I'm having a conversation, I do my best to let them know, hey, do your thing. Whatever you want to do, if that's your goal to go to the States, but I'm going to keep it real with you. If no one's going to keep it real with you, I'm going to keep it real with you. I'll probably never see you again, but I got to give you the truth about how it is over there, you know? And so to my brothers and sisters that I talk to here, that's what I let them know. And they want to know, well, why are you coming here? Well, again, the amount of peace, the amount of healing that needs to be done for the diaspora, man, you know, I don't have to hear police sirens all day here. I don't have to hear ambulance sirens all day here. I don't hear gunshots here. You know, so it's just really the amount of peace that we receive here has been invaluable. There's no amount of money that you can put on it. Now, business-wise, you know, yeah, coming from the States, we see a lot of opportunity here. You know, it's kind of like a blank canvas. I can ride down the street and point out 10 different things that is needed in this one community, right? I might ride down the street and see some of the things that needs to be fixed, right? Which I perceive probably are easy fixes. And a lot of us think, oh man, why are the roads still like this? It's 2025, you know? Why is this like this? What about this? We can fix this. We can fix this. And so, bro, just coming here, you know, from the States, our minds immediately gravitate towards how things can be upgraded,
Right.
and how we can link up with our long lost cousins here in Ghana and start to rise up.
But do you think as a diasporan community, you have a voice?
I think we're creating a voice. I think we're creating a voice. I wouldn't say that we have a big voice here.
You think you're being heard?
I wouldn't say that. You know, I wouldn't say that. But that's around the corner, though. That's around the corner.
How far do you think we are away from having a voice and then being represented properly in the right places?
Man, that's a good question right there. That's a good question. I've been interviewed a lot and I haven't had that question before. But to my estimation and in my view, I think that even since 2019, since the year of return, since thousands of us have made that move and gotten replanted here, that we've been a positive addition to Ghana. And we want to keep that going. It's only been a couple years. I mean, I know that there's elders here that have been here for 20, 30 years, and they've paved the way for people like myself to come. But I'm pretty new here, you know, only a couple years. So I'm learning a lot. There's a learning curve that has to happen. And so I believe that if we continue to just add value back to Ghana, our voice will definitely, it would have to be heard.
Let me stop you here for a minute. If you've been watching this show, I want you to subscribe and become part of the family. We are on a journey of changing the lives of people on this channel. And we appreciate you for being here. But if you haven't become part of the family, connect with us. Hit the subscribe button. Now let's carry on the conversation. You see, you already have a community of diasporans, you personally, with the enrichment awards that you have. I think it's a fantastic thing that you're doing. But what sort of representation, though, do you think that even within the community that you are putting together would need to be able to allow the voices to be heard?
Yeah. I think that some of the associations that we already have here are kind of like the foundation of us really having a voice here. So associations like the African American Association of Ghana, AAAG, the Ghana Caribbean Association, GCA, the Central Region Africans Ascendants of Ghana, CRAG. You know, these organizations have been around much, much longer than I've been here, and they have individuals that are working super, super hard to not only allow for a soft landing for people like myself to come from the West and start to survive and thrive here, but also they are setting the foundation of the relationship between Ghana and its lost children.
Okay.
You know, so these types of associations are really, really important. And they're creating that voice, you know, and so as more of the younger folks, the younger populations, the Gen Z, I'm from Generation X, but the millennials, once they really start to come here in masses and really start to collaborate with our cousins here, you know, the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. You know, of course, Africa as a continent, you know, the median age is like what, 24, 25, you know, and they say that the children are the future, right?
Yeah.
And so if the median age in Africa is in the 20s, that means Africa is the future.
Right.
Right. So, you know, our brothers and sisters that's in the West, if they're smart, they'll start to invest in Africa, and they'll start to invest in the people here.
I've spoken to a lot of diasporans who have also told me that they have tried to invest. The money's getting to the hands of the wrong people. Things are happening locally that is affecting their decision to even stay and carry on. There are people who have gone back.
I know.
What's been your experience?
Well, a lot of them have been my customers at Jerk Soul, and so I get to hear the stories, good and bad, you know, from the brothers and sisters who have either come here or maybe they've gotten some land. I've heard a lot of stories, you know, and I've, of course, had my own experiences. But, you know, for the majority, the vast majority, it's been just a huge blessing to come over here and just to even attempt to start a business or to attempt to build their forever home, right? Yes, that's life. You know, stuff happens, you know. I mean, of course, in the States, there's a lot of unfortunate situations, business situations where people have to take losses, you know. So it's the same way here. You know, we just have to do our due diligence and be wise when we're making decisions, just like anywhere else.
When you came to Ghana and you first started your restaurant, at some point you had to go back to the US for some time. What was happening?
I didn't have to go back. What I did is I wanted to establish another location in the States. So what I did is I went to Texas in the northern suburbs of Houston, and I opened up a location, Jerk Soul, Texas. And it was cool. It was cool. It was awesome because by that time I had already been here for like 2 years. And so it was good to go back and see family, you know, family, friends and everything.
But then you left your business here.
Yeah.
And then you went. How were they running the business at the time?
Well, I have an amazing staff. My manager, Jan Martin, did a great job as far as keeping things afloat. My staff, my other staff members, they understand and they know that all of the information that I've given them, everything that I've learned from corporate America, as far as customer service, as far as the sales, I gave them that knowledge. You know what I mean? And so they implement that at my restaurant. And so when you have that, you don't have to be there all the time. So I left for 4 months, you know, and they did extremely well. And so I'm proud of them.
No, they did a great job. It's really difficult to leave your business for 4 months, for even 2 months here.
Yeah.
A lot of things can happen. So if they were able to hold it down, they did fantastic. They did fantastic. Now, but how did you recognize that opportunity in that area, though?
In that area?
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, I started to look in Osu first.
Okay.
And I actually got a location, or I thought I had a location, but they ended up giving it to like a family member at the last moment. And so I actually ran into a sister from California, and she was telling me about this mall in Oyarafa. It's a fairly new mall. They have some spaces available. You should check it out. So I went to check it out, and I saw that. I was like, okay, it's a new mall, and I saw the potential. But the area, you mentioned the area. The area is amazing because the space that I have has a panoramic 360 view of the beautiful Abri Mountains. And so, when you go to Jerk Soul and you're out on the rooftop, oh my goodness, I'd have to say that I probably have one of the top 5 most beautiful views of any restaurant in Accra. So the area, and what I was told at the time is that, this area is actually, it's on the come up. They're like, oh, this is going to be the new East Lagoon. And so I was like, okay, and so they're building up a lot in that Adenta area, Oyarafa, and I love it.
No, that's good. For me, it's always about when you've come in here with no plan, right? Almost. Because Accra takes a lot of cash.
Yeah.
We don't have a credit system here, like many parts of the West do. So I'm just wondering how you were managing your life at the time, even before the business kicked in.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I just bet on myself.
That's a huge bet.
A big bet. It takes a spine, takes a backbone. And so I just bet on myself. So the money that I did come with, I put it all into my business.
What if it had failed?
Well, failure is a part of business, right? And I couldn't think about that. I can't think about the what ifs. There's no plan B, C, D. It's only plan A. So it has to work, And so I know my abilities. I know who I follow. And so I've never been let down, So I knew that it was going to work.
If you were to speak to someone who's thinking of moving to Africa,
yeah,
what would be your advice to them?
Hurry up. If anybody's thinking about moving to Africa, I would say put your plan in place, do your due diligence, and do it now, because, anybody that is watching what's going on in the world today, anybody that's, watching the news, the global news and everything, it's obvious that things are really starting to heat up in the West. So this is the best place for us, for a Black person. This is the best place for us. Any wars that kick off, you should be here. You're safer to be here. Any civil unrest that should go down in the States, you don't want to be there at that time. You should be here. Okay? Any more lockdowns, any famine, if you know anything about economics, if you know anything about the dollar, and people think, hey, the dollar is king and all that kind of good stuff, well, the truth of the matter is the dollar isn't backed by anything, and countries around the world, they know that, you know what I mean? And they're banding together to create something to rival the dollar. And that's going to cause a negative ripple effect, not only in the States, but around the world. And we should be getting prepared for that. So anybody that's thinking about possibly making that move or getting some land here, they should do it. They should do it. They don't have to be like me and, not take a tour. They don't have to be like me and just get that one-way ticket. But, it's just extremely smart to weigh your options, let your mind kind of like, because in America, we're kind of like in a box, right? And so a lot of people think that this is the best thing going until they leave, until they go global and they start to go to other countries and they see that, oh, this is how the real world works, not the fairy tale of that we live in the States. So anyone that's thinking about moving to Africa, I think it's a smart move.
Because I heard a lot of Americans don't travel out of America.
That's what I'm saying.
So all they know is what they know, right? They can't relate with other people. They don't know how other cultures are.
Yeah.
So fantastic, man. Recently, there are a lot of people that got their citizenship.
Yes.
Yeah. It was a beautiful day for many people in Ghana. Have you got yours?
Yeah, I was a part of that historic night where 524 members of the scattered African diaspora received their Ghanaian citizenship. That was a very memorable evening. And to be honest, somebody like me, I never really cared about citizenship here. I know a lot of us, they do care, and they've been looking for it, and a lot of elders here have been looking for it since they've been here for decades. But I'm from the South Side of Chicago, and so it's never been a thought to have dual citizenship or citizenship somewhere outside of the States.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I knew that I could do business here without being a citizen. And I really didn't weigh out the pros of having citizenship. So it really wasn't a thought. But, certain people like Alita Israel and Rabbi Kohen and some others, really kind of like hit it home for me of why it's beneficial to have your citizenship. And so I was a part of that, and it was amazing. I'm so glad now that I do have my citizenship. And there's a huge sense of belonging, a huge sense of, just returning back to where your DNA started at. You know what I mean? It's big. I mean, nobody in my family has dual citizenship anywhere else, Not too many people in my family have made it over to Africa, Like I said, for a lot of us, it's not even a thought, except I really believe a huge wave hit us, 5 years ago for the 400-year anniversary, right? And so at that time, I don't know, I feel like we were shaking.
For you, though, what happened for you to say, I'm going to Africa? What exactly, what was that moment, the eureka moment, the epiphany, the aha moment that said, I'm going?
Yeah.
This is the exact thing that hit me. What was it?
Yeah, well, when the Most High told me that I was going to Africa, the very first thought was, Africa? What's going on over there?
There must have been events that were happening in your life before that happened.
You know what? There's no event that happened. I was just literally running Jerk Soul in St. Louis every day. There wasn't an event, there was a voice, and I had to be obedient to that voice. And I started to think, okay, where? And so I saw that a lot of brothers and sisters were going to the Gambia. I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll go to the Gambia. And then my really good friend, Andrew Beeman, he said, bro, you're a businessman. Ghana is developing. You should think about Ghana. I said, okay, I'll look into Ghana. And when I started looking into Ghana, like everything, it's like a bridge just kind of revealed itself. Everything started to line up. I easily rented out a home. I was still in the States, and I rented out a home from the States. I got my home. I got my residency. I got my work permit. I got my Ghana card. All of this stuff just lined up. Boom, 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 boom. And that was just proof to me that I was making the right decision.
Let me stop you here for a minute. If you've been watching this show, I want you to subscribe and become part of the family. We are on a journey of changing the lives of people on this channel. And we appreciate you for being here. But if you haven't become part of the family, connect with us. Hit the subscribe button. Now let's carry on the conversation. You are led, man. You are led. Something is leading you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we could take this conversation into a space, but I think it's gonna bring out a lot of things. And, you know, I'm trying to pause it there where I don't tap into that area so much, because I'm sure there's still family back home.
Yeah.
And there may be voices telling you that, you know, come back. And then you're also telling people, no, you come in, you know. I'm sure those things are happening. And how you navigating that?
Yeah. Well, it would be a dream to see people like my mother over here.
Yeah.
That would be awesome, you know, because I believe that when you live here, your life gets extended. I believe that there's years put on your life when you live here versus in a toxic environment like America, you know? So if I were to see, and I've had cousins that came out here. I've had old customers from my carryouts in St. Louis. They've come here. So I've had friends to come here year after year, you know, and they've had a good time. And some of them has also invested in Africa as well. But we need more. We need more. I really believe that a lot of people at home, they're starting to see what we're doing. They're starting to see what we're doing, and it's really starting to open up their mind to think, well, oh, if Judah was able to move there and thrive, then I can do it too, you know? And so shout out to the members of the diaspora that are putting work in here. They're putting in work in agriculture. They're putting in work in creative spaces. They're putting in work in medical spaces. They're putting in work in the culinary world. Man, community service. Man, we got so many NGOs here that are really just giving back to the land. Man, you know, so we're doing a great work, but we need more of our people. And I do believe that there's going to be a second exodus, a mass exodus of the brothers and sisters that are in the West back to the motherland.
Judah, what's the best advice you ever received?
That I've ever received? The best advice, I would say the best advice that I've ever received is to never give up. And so I take that to heart because I faced so many challenges growing up as a kid and even as an adult. So many challenges, brother. I've been through a lot of wars in my life. And if I had have given up in any one of these situations, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. I wouldn't be talking to you right now. Probably wouldn't be alive at all. And so to keep going, to persevere, to move forward, you know, I used to love this thing that Nipsey Hussle used to say. You know, he used to say, the marathon continues, you know? So what that means is no matter if things are going well in your life This is not a sprint. It's a marathon. Keep going. If things are going not so well, hey, this is not a sprint. Keep going. And, it's a marathon. It's slow and steady. You run in this race that we call life, slow and steady, And yeah, you might trip along the way. You might fall along the way, but we get back up, we dust ourselves off, and we keep scratching. We keep clawing for every foot, every inch of everything that we are owed, everything that we deserve, and we're going to get it. That's the light at the end of the tunnel. We're going to get what's due to us.
You're a very resilient man. And I want to put this question to you. What's made you so resilient and very stubborn with your dreams?
Mm-hmm. Man, you know what? I've been the type of person that I'm relentless when it comes down to my dreams. I have to make them happen, So, for instance, me owning a restaurant, that dream came when I was 15 years old working at McDonald's. One of my first jobs, I'm working at a burger place called McDonald's, and I just saw the operation. And I was just like, wow, we're having so much fun in here, making this food for the people. It's busy. I know they're making a ton of money. I just saw the operation, and I just remember saying that one day I'm going to have a restaurant. It was a dream of mine to be an author and to write a book. I knew that one day I would write a book. And so I became an Amazon author. I always I love magazines. And so growing up, I would always have these hip hop magazines and everything. And I just love how they're structured. And I was always just kind of interested in how something like that comes together. And I always wanted to have my own magazine. And so I started my own magazine called Think Positive Magazine, And so when it comes down to any kind of dreams that I have, I think it's important for you to bring them into fruition so that when you do leave this earth, there's no regrets,
Yeah, that's very powerful, man. Then I say to you that do you think the one that is dead, though, know whether they regret it or not? After death, I ask myself this question a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we do our best, right, for humanity.
Yeah.
And it's the people that live that will remember us.
Yeah.
That's even up to a point. The best you might get is somebody talks about you or put a picture, a frame.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
you know what it does?
Yeah.
It shows people that no matter if these people are your family members or people from the community that you came up in, the things that you accomplish, these other people are able to look and see that they can do it as well. So I'm from an area in Chicago that is, what word do I want to use? It's rough. Okay.
It's a ghetto, huh?
It's called Roseland.
Okay.
I love Roseland. But it's a rough place, right? So when kids from Roseland see that, man, one of us made it out, you know how powerful that is? For them to be able to see somebody else do it, and that just gives them hope to keep going, to pursue their dreams so that they can make it out as well.
Right. Let me stop you here for a minute. If you've been watching this show, I want you to subscribe and become part of the family. We are on a journey of changing the lives of people on this channel. And we appreciate you for being here. But if you haven't become part of the family, connect with us. Hit the subscribe button. Now let's carry on the conversation. Right. If you were to tell your 18-year-old self something, what would it be?
18, man. I remember when I was 18. And when I was 18, that's fresh out of high school, right? About to go into college. And I just remember that summer before going to college, I really didn't know if I was gonna go or not, right? And it was a crazy summer. This is 1994. And there was a lot of friends that were dying. A lot of my friends were being murdered at that time. A lot of gang activity in my city, right? So I lost a lot of friends. I've lost family members. And at that time, it was a volatile situation, you know? And what I would tell my 18-year-old self is that distinction is extremely important. And what I mean by that is being set apart, being different from everyone else, not following the crowd, forget what everybody else is doing, think for yourself, understand that you're on a different path than most people, you know, and really start to even separate yourself. Because that's a point where when you begin to separate yourself from a lot of the noise in our lives, man, God can mold you. He can really mold you into what he needs you for, you know, and that requires separation. And at that time, I had a packed mentality. You know, like a dog has a packed mentality, they run in packs. And I didn't want to do anything by myself. You know, I just want to always be linked up with my friends and everything. And so therefore, I got in the same kind of trouble that my friends were getting into, right? And a lot of them didn't make it. You know, and I used to think, man, how did I survive it? How did I make it? I was doing the same things they were doing, but they're not here anymore. And so because of that, I have to make it for them, you know, and for him, because I appreciate being set apart. I appreciate not being swallowed up in all of the madness that can go on in a lot of the cities where you'll find us, you know? So I would have told my 18-year-old self, bro, you know what? Separate yourself from them. You're different. You're on a different path, you know? Start to focus on your own lane and master that.
I got you there, man. That was powerful. I don't think you've realized that. But when we go back and we play it, I think you realize that, man, that was not you speaking. That was powerful. Definitely divine.
Yes.
That was powerful. The journey of trying to be different, the differentiation, discrimination, that process is really difficult because a lot of people throw stones at you because now they're thinking, you are the different one. And, it can be very hard, but that is the process of development.
That's right.
And you're definitely right, man. That's when the divine can open up a lot of things for you.
That's right.
Because you're beginning to discover yourself. This has been an awesome conversation. It's been a great conversation. I want to give you a camera over there, just behind, and I just say a few words before we close it off.
Yeah. Well, thank you for tuning in to our conversation. Thank you for having me, bro. But our people, one thing that I would say is, many of us have been plagued, especially in the States. We've been plagued with individualism. And it's hurt us so much. While you look at a lot of other nations, a lot of other nationalities, groups of people, they don't believe in individualism. They believe in group economics, right? It's much more easy to work with each other versus doing everything by yourself, And so unfortunately, in the States, we compete against each other, especially in a market that's already full and flooded, But my hope is going into 2025, going into the next few years, my hope for our people is that we turn our backs on individualism and we really start to embrace each other, start to collab with each other, connect with each other, connect our minds together, connect our pocketbooks together, you know, and really start to help each other to go to our next level. It's inevitable that we're going to go to our next level, but I need my brother to do that. I need my sister to do that. No longer should we allow individualism and competition to continue to hold us down. So collaboration is the key.
It's definitely the key, you know, but then you see, we have a system, right? So the nurse go to school, they train them that this is the best way to treat a patient.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor go through a different training. Somebody studies philosophy in school and they tell them that everything you can do with your mind, right? Somebody does acupuncture, they tell them that they don't need medicines. So all they need is, you know, a fine needle that can get the pain point. Already, these people come out, they're in competition already.
Yeah.
Because they've all been trained differently. They are in argument. They can never agree. Mm-hmm. It's a system. The system has made it like that. And then it makes us feel as if you are better than the next person. So you graduate already thinking as a nurse, you're better than a pharmacist, you're better than a doctor. Right. But it's not true.
Let me ask you a question. Is your leg more important than your arm?
No. We need each other.
You know what I mean? Yes. Is the left foot more important than the right?
You need all of it.
We are a body of people, right? And the body needs to work in unison, you know, so that there's motion. And no matter if you are the head or if you're the tail, we need each other.
We definitely need
every body part needs each other.
I mean, as much as, you know, the brain is powerful, without the neck, who the hell is the brain? You know, but we must stay away from what the system makes it look like.
Right.
You know, it's not okay for us to be together and still make things work. And we must operate in the divine, because in the divine space, there's no polarity. There's no differentiation. It's we're all together as one, you know. But that was a powerful conversation. And I'd like to thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
And I'd like to thank my followers and our audience, that I really appreciate you guys. Leave a comment, you know, let me understand what you think about this conversation. And then we move on to the next one. My name is Derek Abaite. Stay connected.